Chia, if you want to come, no? Thanks so much. Parochial Vicar at St. Rocco.
My job is very easy, is to make the pastor look good as a parochial vicar. Just want to continue what Father Kiran was saying. In the hospital, there are so many Catholic patients that thought that God no longer loved them because they left the church for whatever reason. You know, when we go there as Mercedarians, we are literally ransoming them from the danger of losing the faith, the Christian faith, because we bring God's mercy to them. And also, a priest once told me in Philadelphia that when we are in the hospital as priests, we are literally can wrestle a soul from the hell in the split second. That's the power of the sacraments, power of the ordination. So I was 5 months at Metro when Father Kiran was in India working on his visa. So it's really a beautiful ministry for the Mercedarian and for any priest, for anybody to go and say that Jesus loves you. Otherwise, they get depressed, they get despair, and so on and so forth. Now, that's Father Kiran's, continuing on Father Kiran. So I still have my 15 minutes, right? Okay. I don't know how to continue this because Jane asked me to talk about maybe 20 minutes to half an hour. I said, well, all I need is about 15 minutes. So I come from a country, it's far away, about 23 hours by flight. It's called Malaysia. If you look on the map, you see Vietnam, a little bit of the south east would be Thailand, and then you go further down would be Peninsular Malaysia, and then you go across South China Sea, you see a beautiful island called Borneo. Borneo is the world's third largest island. Beautiful sandy beaches. Borneo is part of Malaysia, and then major on the south would be Kalimantan, belonging to Indonesia. Christianity is about 10% in Malaysia. The majority is Muslim. And then you have the Chinese religion, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucius, and so on and so forth. Christianity is 10%. On the island of Borneo, you have more Christians because of the missionaries who left Ireland, who left Netherlands to come to an island, in the island of Borneo, to evangelize. Religious life is nothing new to me. I had two aunts. One was a Franciscan, one was a Carmelite disciples in Malaysia. The Carmelite nuns came from the monastery in Madrid, Spain, about maybe 80 years ago, 80 to 85 years ago. I came to America. I never wanted to become a priest or religious. I just wanted to get married and have children. Because I come from a large family. I come from a family of 18 of us. And I'm the youngest of the 18. My father had 6 children. I had 7 children before marrying my mother. And then he and my mom, both of them had 11 children together. So my mom took care of all 18 of us. I got to know religious life from my spiritual director, who asked me a question. What if God is calling you to the priesthood? And I said, Father, I don't want to become a priest. I just want to get married and have children. And he said, if God is calling you to the priesthood, what is your answer? And religious life, I said, I'll check it out. That's all. The rest is history. Because I come to America for my American dream. American dream, you work hard, you get what you want, you climb up the corporate ladder. And then you step on anybody's back, who the heck cares? As long as you're on the top. Sex, money, power. It was through a retreat during Lent that I heard it. And then I said, this is not the kind of American dream that I have. I am now living my American dream. Not the dream that I wanted, but the dream that God has put in place for me. But it took Father Kiran 1 year to get his green card. It took me 10 years to get my green card. So I thank God for that. This is a wonderful place. I still go back to Malaysia, and Christianity is booming in Malaysia. Good Friday, Holy Week, here the church is empty. In my hometown in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, my home parish is called Our Lady Star of the Sea, or Stella Maris, because it's right by the beach. You walk to the beach, 20 minutes walk to the beach. It's a parish we keep expanding. We have no air conditioning. It's all made of bricks and cement. It's hot. You got to find a good seat to sit by the fan. So you have to go on Good Friday. Now this is Good Friday. You want a good seat, you be there at 1 o'clock. Service starts at 3. Veneration of the cross begins at 3. You go from 1 to about 2. You want a seat, just a seat, you come after 2. And if you want to bring your own seat, you come after 2:30. So people that come late, they literally bring the seat out from the trunk and open up and sit, because we have no more chairs available for people to venerate the cross. And we cannot afford to use one cross. We had multiple crosses, because to use one cross, one crucifix, it would take us on the average about 6 to 7 hours, because it was packed. Just imagine, the church is packed, the parish hall is packed with live stream. Outside the church, where the parking is packed. People park their cars on the street, even on the road. And in my hometown of Sabah, Good Friday is a public holiday. No stock market, all offices are closed. It's a day for them to give thanks to God. Ash Wednesday, same thing, standing room only. So I thank God for the faith, even though the faith can be challenged a little bit, from the Muslim every now and then in Malaysia. Overall, the more we are being persecuted, the greater the people grow in the faith. So that's about 10 minutes. Any questions? Well, I think it takes another, sad to say, a great persecution. Yeah, it takes when you look at September 11, that day, what happened to the church? Packed. People line up with confession. And in New York City, during that time, I don't know for how long, there was no abortion being carried out. During that time, I don't know for how long. People realize that their dependence on God. It takes a great persecution for us to wake up. The Catholic Church is now in a slumber. We are sleeping, we are a little bit nosy there. But it takes a great persecution to wake us up. Everywhere when there's a persecution that happens, the faith of the people grow. And also it's our responsibility as evangelizers, as priests, deacons, religious, catechists, to teach the faith. Don't water it down. To teach our faith to the little children. If we have school, we have PSR, it is reaching to the family by means of the little children. And then we try to help out with the family to preach the gospel. Because like John Paul II was saying, people are thirsting for God, but they're searching in the wrong place. They're searching in the New Age, in the occult, and so on and so forth. They want us to preach the faith. The best way to preach the faith is to love our faith, to become practicer by going to confession, going to Mass often and frequently, and live the faith authentically. Does that answer your question? Yeah, it begins with me, not begins with somebody else. It begins always with us. We don't draw Christian into our parish because there's something wrong that we are doing. We baptize in the school, so far that I know, 4 children who were not non-Christian at all. the little kids just told their parents they want to become Catholic, they want to become baptized. And the mother, one of the mother was Christian, non-Catholic. Another mother, no religion at all. Said, okay, what can we do? So with the 4 baptism, at least, of all the wrong things we have done something good, something positive that we pass on the faith to the children. Not to take away the role of the parents as primary educators. But it has to become from me, authentically living the gospel by what I say and what I do. Mostly by what I do. Father McNulty, I hope that you're not falling asleep there. Any other questions? It's great being in Cleveland. Yeah, I came to Cleveland in October last year, at the beginning my assignment at St. Rocco.
What do you like about
Cleveland,
Cleveland?
the weather's not too bad. The weather's not really bad. I spent 3 years, well, actually 5 years in Leroy, which is southeast of Buffalo. So that's not too bad. I mean, this is not too bad. Father Daniel can tell you that in Leroy. By the way, just a little quiz there. You know Jello, Jello? Who knows where Jello was invented? It's a small town in Buffalo called Leroy, Leroy. The outsiders call it Leroy. The local call it Leroy. And there are 3 or 4 ways of spelling Leroy too. So if you say Leroy, they know that you're not a local. If you say Leroy, they know that you're local. But actually the French is Leroy. It's a French term. Guess where it was born? If you go to Leroy, it says birthplace of Jello.
And they have a museum too.
Yeah, they have a gallery there, a Jello gallery. It tells you all other countries, that has similar. Yeah. So now you know a little bit of history. Yeah.
So is it sort of like, would it be correct to say sort of like this is more of a missionary kind of assignment?
For Mercedarian, it could be for me. No, because I came here, to work really. I spent 2 years not working by choice. Because I said I work so much in Malaysia, I don't want to work. I just want to spend 1 year not working, and then 1 year became 2 years. It is through these 2 years that I didn't have any job that I got to know the church. Because I said I have nothing else to do. So what do? I go to the church, and I got to know so many beautiful people that God has put in my place. When I began to get involved in the church, because you don't get involved in the church, you hardly know anybody. But once you get involved in the church, you know everybody, and it becomes a family, not just a church.
Out of the 18, how many, is there any other religious? Or you don't?
My older brother.
Your older brother.
My older brother is a Brother of Mercy of Mary, Help of Christian. Was founded in Germany, in Trier, Germany, by a chimney sweeper called Blessed Peter Friedhofen. Yeah. So he's now in Singapore. He is actually my godfather. Yeah. He was the one that told me there's something called religious. And when I was a little, I used to visit my aunt, my mom's older sister who's a Carmelite. We go to see her once a month. So we would see her through the grill, and there's really a grill, like in prison. There's between our grill and her side of the grill is about a foot long, a foot wide. So you can only see her through a grill once a month. I still go to visit the sisters, the Carmelite, even though my aunt no longer there. She died a couple of years ago. I know the sisters, the nuns there, so I still go and visit the nuns whenever I go back. And I always try to make it a point to celebrate the Eucharist at the chapel, for the faithful and for the sisters, for the nuns there. And I still visit the Franciscan sisters that my another aunt of mine belonged to. So I still go visit them every time I go back to Malaysia. And I would bring clothes and stuff that parishioners would make. I would bring them back and give it to the sisters. They give it to the children because they have residence for children. Because the children will walk like 3 or 4 hours to go to school every day, under the heat, under the rain. So this way they don't have to go back and forth. They can stay there during the week and go back to their family during holidays. And they have shorts to wear, dresses to wear, and it's really wonderful when you see little children are being taken care of.
Do you try to get some of that stuff now from the States to send over there?
I bring, there's a parish in my own parish in Leroy and Virgin. They would send it to me. They would get in touch with me. They say, okay, Father, the clothes are ready. What is it? It's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt, regular t-shirt. And a group of women would gather around. And they have extra fabric. They attach at the end of the t-shirt around it like a skirt. So they call it t-shirt dresses. Yeah, t-shirt dresses. For the boys, they have shorts. They would get shorts and t-shirts. And then they would put a little steel card in the pocket. So they warn me in case there's a metal, there's a steel card there. So they would put it there and then give it to the boys. The girls will have the t-shirt dresses.
As a boy growing up, you said, and if my goal is having children in Burma, to make church not something you just do on Sunday, something that is part of your life, part of your home, part of everything. If the church needs help, you do that, you help. But
Oh, yeah.
in your experience from having a big family, what is your memory of how that was raising you, that church was just not something you do on Sunday? It wasn't just the prayers, it was more, there's more to it.
Well, I can remember when I was, I think maybe 2nd or 3rd grade. My older brother, who has since passed, 5 years ahead of me, he died when he was 17. I was 12 years old. We would, Saturday, because we had no school, Mom would say, okay, tomorrow, Saturday, you and Bernard would go to Stella Maris. Your aunt is waiting for you. Your aunt will be waiting for you. Because my aunt was a sacristan. So we would help my aunt with everything that needs to be done in the parish, arranging the host, and we would learn our prayers there. So you don't get your prayers memorized. You stay there until you memorize it. So my aunt would say, don't worry about going home. Your mom knows that you're here. Yeah, it's a blessing, to like a sacristan. So now you know the importance of this. And then, my aunt would explain it to me. Yeah, you go to visit the Kamala, you ask, because the Kamala has no money, so you ask them what they need. So you buy like milk powder or this or fruits or things like that for them when you visit them. Yeah. Yeah, you don't go to church, your mom would pinch you until you go to church. Yeah, there comes a time when you want to go to church. Yeah. So that's why it's so important, when our children are young, to bring them, to get them involved, because they need to have their faith in action. They learn about the faith. How is that applied in action? The parish, the church is not just a building. The church is your extended family.
Okay. Thank you so much.